dignitaries, friends and colleagues, on behalf of the Lebanese Private Sector Network, I extend to you a very warm welcome. And thank you for this beautiful turnout. It certainly shows that we have the shared sense of urgency to put Lebanon back on its feet. And it certainly shows that we all love this country the same way. So how did it all begin? It all began with a strong and pressing conviction that there was one voice that was not given its rightful place, that was not loud enough, not bold enough, and that voice belonged to the private sector. We had grown tired of the non-stop WhatsApp chatter that seemed to go nowhere, of listening to problems and never any solutions. Meanwhile, shortcomings of the public sector were being systematically reoriented towards the private sector, and we found ourselves both at the receiving end of the crisis and at the receiving end of the blame. We felt the urgent need for a grassroots lobby group to work across business associations and charge forward with issues that might be considered politically sensitive for many of our esteemed established organizations. So let's recall the setting. At that time, everything around us was disintegrating, failing, getting systematically destroyed. We were in the midst of COVID lockdowns, facing the repercussions of the world economic crisis, let alone our own economic demise. Any form of predictability had perished. Any form of visibility was non-existent. To add insult to injury, our beloved capital had just been shattered, violated, our souls were grief-stricken and humiliated by the explosion. As the private sector was struggling to stay alive, wherever we looked, we found no anchor, no reassurance, and no hope. Absence of political will to implement solutions was shockingly offensive, to say the least. Meanwhile, our identity was also under attack. The ongoing rhetoric was self-flagellation, self-criticism. We only know how to excel as individuals, not as a collective. If you try to group people together, they will never stick together. People were telling us this, and we were telling ourselves the same story. Our image abroad was turning pathetic, inducing sorrow, and sincere condolences were actually expressed at the loss of the Lebanon that we all love. In a nutshell, the system had failed us. Politicians were consistent in one thing and one thing only, and that is failing us, failing to protect our constitutional rights while knowing full well that the key to the revival is in the private sector's hands. So here we were, expected to get up every morning, inject hope and confidence and positive energy with our employees and manage between the shocks and the tremors. And every night we went to bed, hoping and praying that we wouldn't have to lay off our staff the next morning, knowing full well that if they go out for job hunting, they're not going to find anything out there. The responsibility of their livelihood and their family's security became ours. It is this sense of responsibility that created the momentum in our network, that energized us, that made us grow, and that made us come week after week after week to our meetings to do what we do best. Envision, strategize, plan, set targets, and try to execute as quickly as possible. Where are we today? Since February of 2021, we have grown from merely 3 members to over 75. We have members from various syndicates, associations, and NGOs. We have education, mediation, financial specialists, environmentalists, lawyers, health practitioners, and members of the creative community. Each with a track record of success, with an energy and determination that can move mountains. Each volunteering and committing way beyond their normal working hours to make a difference. This is what makes our network stronger, richer, and enables us to step into any topic at any given point in time to advocate for change and hopefully create impact. Our most important principle of engagement is to focus on what unites us, to connect the dots, to collaborate with the various entities, to promote others' positive initiatives, and to multiply the results. We are here to preserve and celebrate our Lebanese entrepreneurial and creative energy, not as individuals, but as a force of collaboration. Dear audience, we do not claim to have all the solutions, but we are determined to keep extending our connections, reaching out, and creating positive impact. Network members, thank you for the huge effort you have put to pull this event together for a memorable year of hard work, intense learning, and long-lasting friendships. Guest speakers who have participated in our weekly meetings and workshops, thank you for the openness, the sharing, and the willingness to be challenged. Friends, colleagues, and advisors who have encouraged us and kept us believing we wouldn't have reached this far without you. Members of Parliament and policymakers, we have listened to you, and we hope you will listen to us now. We are the gatekeepers. We are the engine of growth. We are the private sector that does not surrender.